You ever promise someone you'd do something really special for them, like build them a 7-tiered botanical masterpiece in the middle of a desert just to prove your love? No. Well, that's probably because you're not an ancient Mesopotamian king with access to an imperial treasury, a team of enslaved engineers, and a need to massively overcompensate. Welcome to the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, history's most suspicious love letter. So here's the tale. Somewhere around the 6th century BCE, King Nebuchadnezzar II allegedly looked at his new wife, Amytis of Media, saw her homesick eyes, and thought, she misses the green hills of her mountain homeland. I know, I'll terraform the desert. Because nothing says, I love you, like defying physics, botany, and Mesopotamian climate patterns in one go. Thus, the king apparently constructed a lush, terraced paradise in the heart of Babylon. Water was supposedly hoisted to the upper levels using some ancient proto-pump system, probably powered by slaves, goats, or pure stubbornness. Exotic plants, trees and vines dangled elegantly from each level, which is why it was called hanging, even though it wasn't literally hanging. Because Mesopotamians were poetic like that. Now, before we go any further, tiny detail. There's just one minor problem. We have no proof it existed. That's right. Zero, zilch, nada. Not a single Babylonian tablet says, just finished the giant jungle tower. Amytis loves it. The palace records, silent. The archaeological ruins of Babylon, weirdly garden-free. It's like telling everyone you went to Coachella, but mysteriously forgot to take any photos. Suspicious. So where does this leafy fantasy come from? Mostly Greek and Roman writers. You know, those guys who are famously great at distinguishing fact from sounds cool. Let's roll with it. Writers like Strabo and Philo described the gardens with poetic flair centuries after Nebuchadnezzar had shuffled off this mortal coil. They also lived nowhere near Babylon. But hey, don't let that stop you from confidently describing a palace you've never seen. Travel bloggers still do it. Herodotus, who practically wrote the 5th century BCE version of world's greatest tourist destinations, didn't even mention the gardens. That's right, Herodotus. A man who once wrote about giant gold-digging ants in India. He didn't buy it. But let's be fair, maybe the gardens did exist, just not in Babylon. Here comes our plot twist. A theory gaining traction says the Hanging Gardens weren't Nebuchadnezzar's gift to Amytis at all. Instead, they might have been located in Nineveh, 300 miles north, built by an Assyrian king named Sennacherib. You know, the guy best known for burning Babylon to the ground. Classic poetic irony if true. And Sennacherib, he did brag about his water-lifting devices and terraced gardens. In fact, his palace inscriptions mention a fancy screw-like irrigation system centuries before Archimedes supposedly invented the same thing and slapped his name on it. So either Sennacherib was ahead of his time, or Archimedes had a Mesopotamian Pinterest account. But let's not ignore why we all really want the Hanging Gardens to be real. It's romantic. A king builds paradise for his queen. It's a fairy tale with palm trees and physics-defying aqueducts. It's the historical equivalent of saying, I bought you a house, except the house has a rainforest in the living room, and you need 10,000 litres of water a day just to stop the ferns from wilting. Still, whether it was in Babylon, Nineveh, or just an ancient fever dream invented by Greek poets on too much wine, the Hanging Gardens somehow made it onto the list of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. which means at least 6 other guys were sitting around a table going, yeah, sounds plausible. Giant rooftop jungle? Sure. Put it on the list. In the end, the Hanging Gardens are either the greatest love story in architectural history or the earliest example of pics, or it didn't happen. And let's be honest, if Nebuchadnezzar had built something that cool, he'd have etched it on every wall, brick, and royal dog bowl in the city. But since he didn't, we're left with ancient hearsay and a pile of dirt that absolutely refuses to sprout into a world wonder. So next time someone says they'd do anything for love, remind them that even Nebuchadnezzar might have faked it